Yeah, very, very unknown too. They used to take me back to it for whatever reason. I think it was. Yeah. It's the way to do it. Yeah, they do. It's a lot of service.
for John Vitarelli. Hold on, please. Virginia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Scott, can you hear me?
I can.
Wonderful.
This meeting for Borough Council on June 18th, it's 7:09, and the meeting is called to order. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Virginia, can you do roll call?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the meeting is called to order.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The meeting's called to order. Holly? Go ahead, Virginia, roll call.
Thank you. Mayor Wallace?
Present.
President Bullard?
Present.
Ellen Malala?
Present.
Melissa Johnson?
Here.
Marie Kelso?
Here.
Andrew Lubin?
Here.
Luke McKee?
Present.
Scott Robinson?
Present by phone from Tennessee.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Our borough solicitor?
Scott Holbert on behalf of Flagrant Associates.
Thank you, Scott. And our borough manager?
Present.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Virginia.
Prior to this meeting, we had an executive session. Scott, do you want to comment?
Yes. Items of personnel, collective bargaining negotiations, litigation, and a real estate matter were discussed.
Okay, tonight we have some presentations. The first one being from the fire department, Matt Wiedenhafer, who's going to do a presentation on the Not Box program. Oh, and John Weiss is here as well, the fire chief. Welcome, John Weiss.
Good evening, folks. I'm Matt Wiedenhafer. I was fire chief in town for 14 years, from 2009 to the end of 2022. I do handle emergency management for you now in the interim until we get that fixed. But I'm going to let John speak to the NOx program and the inspections as they're dealing with it directly on the street day in and day out running fire calls. Thank you.
Good evening. John Weiss here, representing Morrisville Fire Company. Sorry about that. How's that? Better? Matt speaks so loud. How's that? Is that better? No? Pick it up and hold it. All right. How's that? Is that better? No? No? Okay, there we go. There we go. Sorry, not used to this. So good evening. John Weiss here, representing the Morrisville Fire Company. I'm the chief of the borough's 100% volunteer fire company. I'm here to speak in support of the fire inspection and fire investigation programs implemented by the borough. On average, our volunteers respond to 500 calls for service annually. Safety of the citizens of Morrisville and our firefighters is most important to us. I've been an active member of the fire company for the past 22 years. Throughout that time, I've seen my share of unsafe conditions. For many years, we have observed those unsafe conditions because a proactive fire inspection program was not in place. Now with Barry Isitz has begun working with the borough, we have an avenue to lessen or even eliminate unsafe conditions by the implementation of the proactive in-person fire inspection program. Last year, the fire inspector assigned to the borough completed 218 in-person fire inspections. With that being said, unsafe conditions are no longer going unnoticed and now being caught and corrected during the annual fire inspections. Fire protection systems, which haven't been inspected for many years, are now being properly maintained and certified to operate. The number of false alarms are dropping, which is critical on the manpower, which is, like I said, 100% volunteer. Emergency contacts, which haven't been updated for many years, are now current with our dispatch center. Updated emergency contacts benefit all first responder agencies, police and EMS included. This helps expedite key holder response. Improvements such as the Knox Box program have been implemented. This program, the fire company has been requesting for decades. The Knox Box program allows for a quick entry and reduces the need to damage property. I do understand that some business owners had concerns about this Knox Box program being put in place. I can assure you the Knox boxes themselves are very secure. And in addition to the boxes themselves being secured, our fire company invested $8,000 in our own funds to obtain key securers and software which help protect the Knox box keys from falling into the wrong hands. Each key is kept in its key secure and locked within them. A key can only be removed by a member who has access and also by utilizing a unique code to them. So if somebody removes the key, we know who has it. The software tracks all activities the key secures, including when the key is removed and by who. Regarding the fire inspectors and fire marshal who were assigned to Morrisville, they've been extremely responsive and transparent throughout the whole time in the borough. I speak with both officials multiple times a week. They update me on active enforcements in the town and their progress as they work towards compliance. If we encounter any unsafe conditions on our end, I notify them and they promptly enforce the matter to ensure safety is restored. In conclusion, we'd like to thank the borough manager, members of council, past and present, for the support with this initiative. You know, it really helps make things safer for our volunteers out there. And here to answer any questions if you guys have them.
I hear it's a great program. I hear a lot of good things about it. So a lot of the businesses are happy. A lot of them aren't.
Yeah,
But our firemen are safety first.
absolutely. We, like I said, we greatly appreciate it. You know, it's putting the program in place was not an easy thing. I'm sure I see it on a regular basis on my career. Dealing with people, trying to get to compliance is difficult sometimes, but, it really is for the best of the citizens and the firefighters of the borough.
If I may, Council President. I would just like to thank all of you for your diligent work towards this. It was not an easy process, as you say. We had a wonderful, wonderful team that we put together with Mike Italia and so forth, and all of their team, along with your team. And I would like to thank all of you for making Morrisville Borough a safer place to live.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else on council have anything for the firemen? No. Just thank you for all you do. Thanks for keeping the community safe. Okay, next in presentations is 50 Penn Avenue LLC. It's a presentation concerning the former Manor Park School, and they're just going to tell us what they would like to do there.
All right, good evening. Up if this isn't working. First of all, we appreciate the time to address council tonight. My name is Mike McGinnis. I'm an attorney with Begley, Carlin, and Mandy. We represent the contract purchaser of the Manor Park School in the borough. That is 50 Penn Avenue, LLC. To my left, Kevin Romano, who was with me this evening. I'm going to do my best to be brief, and then I'm going to turn the floor over to Kevin for a little more information about who he is proposing this evening. We are here because council expressed some concerns regarding our zoning application at the last council meeting. As you are aware, is that better?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Let's try this. All right, great. So as you are aware, my client is the contract purchaser of the school site, the Manor Park School site in the borough. I do want to state as an initial matter some contrition and apologies on our behalf in terms of not attending previously to discuss this. If you look at the application, anyone on council or members of the community who might be here, it's sort of I want to say confusing, but there are a lot of moving pieces, especially with respect to the relief that we're requesting. So I think being here this evening and discussing what our vision is would be appropriate. So again, we appreciate the time to address council. With respect to the existing conditions, this property has been vacant for a bit over 1 decade. It is almost 1.7 acres. The school building on site is approximately 14,000 560 square feet. Our understanding is that the school district had this property under contract previously, but the former proposed developer was unable to secure financing, so the deal fell apart. With respect to what we are proposing, we're proposing what we've labeled a mixed-use commercial building, similar to the 101 Washington Street site, which Kevin also operates, which again, he'll expand more upon this in a second. There is no development proposed on this site, which is an important component, which we'll get to in a second. I'm going to sort of split this into two categories because I think respectfully, when it comes to a zoning presentation, there are two considerations for council. The first is the legality of what is being proposed, and then the second is the practical considerations. Basically, is this a good thing or is this a negative thing for the community? Legally, as you may be aware, the site is zoned CS1. If you look at your table of use regulations, what that basically means is the site is fully undevelopable without going before the zoning hearing board for a use variance. If you look at the property and look at the table of use variances and the regulations which are operative here, and you set aside the non-public uses, things like schools or libraries, the only use in this district which is permitted by right is an automotive repair shop. And nobody is buying a 14,600 square foot building that is 1.7 acres for a repair shop, nor would I assume that Borough Council would be supportive of that use at this location. Any of the other uses would require a use variance here. So we are truly seeking, I would submit, the minimum possible relief, which is one of our requirements under the MPC for obtaining a variance. But beyond that, I would like to emphasize, and this goes back into the non-development portion, this use is a use that would allow us to retain the existing infrastructure on this site. I think any other contract purchaser that ended up going before the zoning hearing board would have to demolish the structure, and then that would result in added relief, likely, which we do not require as part of our application. So I think legally, we have done what we could to minimize the relief associated with this application. But I think more importantly, from the borough's standpoint, is the practical considerations. As I noted, Kevin is familiar with the borough. He has proven that he's been willing to make an investment in the borough. He is the perfect developer to take this site and to pour money into the site to create an exciting operation with multiple tenants that he knows how to manage in a way that is cohesive and would be supportive of the other residential uses that are in close proximity to this site. He's going to be a better advocate for what he's proposing than I am. So what I'd like to do is turn it over to Kevin. He's going to give you a bit more information about who he is and his vision, and then we'd open the floor up for questions from council. So thank you again. I can be Vanna White if you'd like.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I recognize a few of you. A few of you have taken the time to come over to 101 Washington Street over the last couple of years to see it, and I thank you for that and for your time tonight. So, in long story short, in a few months, I'll have been doing this in some way, shape, or form for 20 years, development, redevelopment, et cetera. For the last 6 or 7, it has been primarily focused on creative reuse, creative redevelopment of existing structures. Sometimes those have been houses, but more specifically, they are commercial buildings. The large one here, which is a Bach building in South Philadelphia, was a 350,000 square foot former high school that was actually in considerably worse shape than Manor Park is actually. That is now home to about 220 tenants, practically no vacancy, a bar, a restaurant, coffee shop, bike shop. And one of the things that we did there to engage the community, and granted, this is a different situation than your town, because it's in Philadelphia and it's a much bigger building and it's a different type of community. But the point is, if you look on either corner,
There you go.
if you look on either corner of Bach, there's a dog park, and then there's what we call the stoop. And the stoop was like basically a place where anyone from the community could sit outside. And as we did things in the building, you know, then became a coffee shop, and then became a bike shop, and then things that people gave reason. Yeah, and the types of tenants that we have there, or that we've had there, they range. I mean, there's everything from artists, you know, whether they be graphic artists or traditional, to woodworking shops, to brewers at times, to, you know, and the list goes on. That was sort of a catalyst for me and for the changing of what we've continued to do. We bought 101 Washington Street in 2020 or 2021, I want to say. As you may have known, it had been an older, pretty good shape, but it had been an older office building for a gentleman who was not quite retiring, but certainly didn't need that much space anymore. And we, you know, sort of repositioned that, redid it, if you will, made it fresh, clean. And we now have 26 or 27 tenants in the building. And again, it's an eclectic, but eclectic in a good way, group of people. So we have a kombucha brewer, we have a couple photographers, we have a lady that does wedding and event planning. We had, until very recently, a furniture guy. We have a tech company. And then we have a guy who works for Lululemon but does want to work from home, quite simply. So and we have several estheticians as well. And so what I have found in both of these buildings, being either full or very close to full, is that these types of buildings help support smaller entrepreneurial businesses in a community. And so not all, but many of these folks, this is their first sort of office space or workspace, I should say, outside of the home. That's not always the case, but it's frequently the case. And, you know, knock wood, just like any other business, some do better than others, but we've been very successful in having really good people, you know, who are living sort of their entrepreneurial dream. And there's quite simply not very much space like this in most communities, is the simple reality. But there's a lot of demand for it. I mean, there are people who need places to work. And they would not fit in a traditional office building, and quite frankly, the zoning probably wouldn't allow it. They're not industrial users. They're not doing anything that is going to cause 18-wheelers or anything to be like delivering things at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to think what else. And, you know, and by and large, you know, they're kind of coming at somewhat non-traditional. I don't want to say non-traditional, but they're not all coming 8 to 5, like at all. You know, I'll come by some mornings at 10 a.m. and you think the building is vacant. I'll come by other times at 4 o'clock and there's 3 cars there, and then you come on another day and it's full. And so it is not the type of thing where everyone's there all the time by any stretch of the imagination, but our tenants are there, you know, more days than not. And so that's what we do. And, you know, our sort of bread and butter, quite frankly, is taking buildings that most people don't really know what to do with and finding a kind of a creative use for them. We want the building to be a part of the community. We don't want it to stand alone from the community. We want to have businesses in there. And, you know, listen, you can't always pick your tenants. You can't always know for sure who you're going to get, which is one of the reasons, to Michael's point, that we need some relief in terms of what the use is, because I can't tell you with 100% clarity that there's going to be a cabinet maker there. Could there be? Maybe. You know, it's hard to be sure. But, you know, for buildings like this to kind of have someone want to breathe life back into them, you know, it's a fair amount of risk, quite frankly. And like to take that risk, me or anyone else needs a little bit of flexibility in the zoning to allow us to my point I just made. Is it going to be a cabinet maker? Could it be a lawyer? You know, could it be an artist? It's hard to be sure. What I do know, after developing 400,000 square feet of this stuff over the last 5 years, or being part of the team, I should say, in some cases, is that they're, you know, that they're very much so great parts of the community. Bach has won numerous awards for urban redevelopment, and is very much a place where people in the community use the building. It's not just a building and then people are living next to it. People use the building. There are reasons to use the building. So with that, I think we'll take questions, Mike. Did I miss anything of importance?
No, the only other thing that I highlight is, and Kevin just touched on it, typically when we submit a zoning application, there's a single use, or even if there's a multi-use, it's like a shopping center in the borough or township has that as a use classification. So we say, all right, we want permission to have a B6 use or a C10 use here. To Kevin's point, when he contacted us at the outset about filing this, the question became, how do we adequately frame the relief so that there's not questions every time a tenant comes in to submit a UNO application to the borough as to whether it's permitted or not. And we had a conversation, and what Kevin basically said was, I think the 101 site has been a great success in the borough, and as long as we can have the permission here to do what we did there, this site is going to be a success. So that's how we've tried to frame it. But again, gets back to my point in the beginning. I think it would have behooved us, and I take responsibility for this, to come in and explain that face to face with everybody instead of just, okay, some person's acquiring the site and you see commercial and questions about multi-uses and how's that going to fit together. I think if that's a question, the answer Kevin just provided is look at his other properties, and fortunately, you don't have to go very far. You can take a drive down the street and see the quality of work and the type of tenants that he's brought to the borough. And I think that's what you can expect as part of this this application if he's successful to move forward and to close on the property. So, thank you, and we're happy to answer questions that council has.
Any questions, council?
Yes, I have one. Do you have any proposed tenants already, or who have you been talking to fill it up?
No one yet, and candidly, the experience that I've had both at Bach and at 101 Washington is, no, there are very, very few people, unless they're actually in real estate or in development, who would walk into that building and be convinced, oh, this is where I need to be in a year. Just because, the building's in rough shape. The building is in rough shape. So, what we've done and what we did in 101 Washington is and we've not done this yet because we haven't bought it, but what we typically do is we start a website and we do exactly what you just suggested, and we start getting people in the building even while we're in construction, and literally every month that goes by, two things. One is that list of potentially interested parties or tenants grows, and B, we get the tours. And quite frankly, at that point, sometimes they're a waste of time, and I know it when we do it, but we do it anyway. But what happens, and what happened, knock wood, at 101 Washington, is that once it's done and people can see that it feels really fresh and really clean and kind of cool, we fill them up pretty quickly. Now, so do I have a list? No, but I can tell you, having done Bach and having done 101, I know the type of tenant we will get, generally speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? And I know I came to visit your building, which was beautiful. It actually changed my mind on a lot of things after seeing it, but we had discussed some things that you would do for the community. Is that going to be incorporated into your plan?
Yeah, so, as you know, we discussed the possibility of moving the dog park. I think that's probably, or a dog park, perhaps would be a better way of saying that. I think we discussed the possibility of having a cafe or something, or some component that engages the community. And yes, we are a little too early in the specific planning phase. Like, we literally just got the building measured last week, so I don't have any pretty renderings to show you of that. But yes, as you can see from this project, for instance, which is a little bit apples to oranges to this. But in here will be a cafe, and then this was an existing kind of cantilevered canopy, and under there people will be able to sit outside on a nice day and have their coffee, have their sandwich, whatever it might be.
Okay.
I'm not saying we're going to do that exactly that there, but the idea, as you can see with all these projects, is to build them in a way that is engaged in the community, that there's a reason why people want to be there, there's things for them to do, and we can talk certainly more about some meeting space potentially for the community. Like I said, we don't have real plans yet, so I can't say, yes, you could use this space on Wednesday nights, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for the community, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do have a question. So I do recall going over to Washington, which, by the way, it is beautiful. I think you did a really beautiful job with the building. It's actually inspiring as a business owner.
Thank you.
So I noticed that it's secure, which is great, right? People aren't just in and out, or people who are going into the building have a purpose. Will you do a similar thing with this, provided that's the route you go? Will you make it a secure building where?
Yes, for sure. And so there's a little bit, in the way you program the building and the way you sort of design it has a lot to do with that. Of course, there are some more public spaces and more private ones. The building will be secure. Everyone, generally speaking, will have their own fob. We have security. We've not really had any problems to speak of. But in part, that's because we make sure our tenants are safe. It'll be secure. But if there's a coffee shop or if there's a bike shop, where obviously for someone to have their bike taken care of, they need to be able to enter the building. That's part of kind of the planning process. So, and at Bach in particular, especially because it was so big, that took a lot of thinking.
Yeah, and that's just why I asked, because I was thinking, if you're doing a community, how does the community get in? And I know you still have to come up with your plan, but it's nice to hear that there is a plan, especially when you spoke about the Bach building, which I'm familiar with, having been from Philadelphia. I know that building, or what it used to be.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since you've redeveloped it, but I was just thinking, like, how does the community, because I can see where it lends itself to the community convalescing and having a good time and just being a part of.
So Bach, and again, it's not a perfect apples to apples kind of comparison because it's so big. But basically, the public spaces at Bach became the first floor and the top floor. The top floor was a restaurant and a bar. The first floor is like where the coffee shop is. There's a bakery there. There's a bike shop. There's a couple of small little retail. Some women that sell clothing. Whatever it might be. So that kind of stuff is generally speaking on the first floor. You cannot very easily get from the first floor to the upper floors, especially depending on time of day, unless you have the right fob.
Okay.
Is the way that was. And so we have not worked through all of that, but like we have the experience in doing that if we want an area of the building, and this building is relatively small, if we want an area of the building to be public so that someone can come get their bike tire fixed, like we can figure that out.
Okay. Thank you.
While keeping everyone else secure.
Okay, I think we're good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you again.
Okay, we'd like to welcome new businesses. East Coast Printing on 1 East Trenton Avenue, Suite 22. They do silk screening and vinyl printing on T-shirts and sweatshirts. So welcome, East Coast Printing. We have one zoning hearing board opening. It's a 1-3-year appointment. It's an alternate, and it expires on 1/4/27. Public comment that will be taken as each agenda item is called. It's for residents and business owners within Morrisville Borough. It's a limit of 3 minutes. And next, we're going to do the engineering report. Jacob, welcome again.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me back again. I'm Jacob Rigg with Gilmore & Associates. So I'm going to touch base on my engineering report items here on the agenda, but I would like to, if I can, just explain a couple of the other agenda items you have further throughout. So as far as the levee, I understand there was some confusion last time as to the limits of what the floodplain will be affected by the levee project. So I passed out to the council tonight, and I apologize, I don't have a large poster. I could not blow these up big enough, clear enough for the public to see. So the first page of the packet is the current FEMA floodplain area. All the blue area is all floodplain. The area in the river would be the floodway, and everything outside of that is the floodplain. So that encompasses all of Williamson Park area. So that's between East Bridge Street and East Trenton Ave and North Delmore Ave and the river. So that area in there is within the floodplain. So the second page of that packet I provided, that has the lighter blue with also some darker blue areas. That would be when the levee is accredited itself. So that is the intermediate accreditation that would come from the levee being put back on a FEMA map. So as you can see, that area of the levee with the trail, that would no longer be in the floodplain. That would raise it up and out. The rest of the floodplain behind the levee within Williamson Park, still behind East Bridge Street and between East Trenton Ave and North Delmore, would still be within the floodplain area. To get that area out of there is required those 2 construction projects, which I explained last month, the backflow preventer at East Bridge Street, and then the wastegate relocation for the canal. So with those projects, that would get you to your third view here. So there are still some light blue areas in there. Those light blue areas are just because the Williamson Park grading is low in those areas. So they are technically below the elevation of the river. So they are in the canal, so they are still shown as floodplain. But all of the houses on Park Ave and Center Ave would be removed from the floodplain. So anything else outside of this area, outside of East Bridge Street, North Delmore, and East Trenton Ave, would not be affected by the levee project floodplain adjustments. So I just want to make that clear, as I think there was some confusion.
I also, we spoke about the floodplain, and I actually contacted Brian Fitzpatrick's office to talk about it for people who are outside the Delmore Avenue /
Yep.
Park and Central. And the email that I received back was that they are going to contact FEMA and they're going to see what they can be done about it. But they're warning that FEMA is very rigid with their formulas, but at the very least, we can have someone take a deep dive into this area to see what can be done. So I am on top of some of this stuff. Don't anybody who lives on South Delmore, don't get your hopes up, but we are looking into it and hopefully maybe some kind of relief can be done.
Yeah, those areas below below East Bridge Street, they are not covered by the levy, so they obviously don't get the protection when we get it accredited. So those areas will still be in the floodplain. Again, we can work with Brian Fitzpatrick and whatever he comes up with and helps, we can try to figure this out with FEMA.
Yeah, so the rest of the council, you can talk to Brian's office to pressure them to change that.
As far as the backflow preventer check valve, we're still working through that grant agreement to get that secured so we can get the money to then put that project into place. And then I haven't heard any other update on the wastegate grant application yet for the design of that. I haven't found any update from them on that. So what's not on here is quick update on the road program. We've gotten some feedback from PICO. I'm waiting for their project list to come in, so that could adjust what roads are, if they're proposing, they're going to give me their 5-year projection of projects. And if any of those roads are affected by that, say it's going to be a very large project, we could remove those and work with PICO to pave them at the correct time.
Okay.
So we don't ruin new paved roads. And the other one was MMA. They reached out to us, and we're going to set up a meeting with them to discuss, again, their projected projects for that 5-year period.
Okay, great. And that's still, though, on par to begin the road program next year?
Yeah. We'll still shoot to we'll come back to you September, October to get your approval to go out to bid, probably November-ish, and try to award it in January, February. And get started as soon as we can, as soon as the weather clears up next spring.
So residents next spring, the whole borough is going to start getting their roads paved. I expected to hear clapping.
Okay, if there's no other questions on the levy right now, I do just again want to touch base on your couple other agenda items that I prepared for you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So the one is under your consent agenda, number 10I. That is an approval for a resolution for the DCD Multimodal Transportation Fund grant for curb ramp projects. And you all should have a resolution and then a curb ramp intersection list. That has 8, so we're recommending a total of 8 intersections for 34 ramps with a total project cost of $255,000. Right now in your resolution that you have is a grant request amount of $178,500 because there is a 30% match required for this grant. However, I just received and learned today that this match can be requested to be waived. So if you would like to request a waiver from the match, we can increase and request the total project amount to $255,000. We can update the resolution if that's possible. I'm not sure if the solicitor will allow that to update the resolution now.
Can we update the resolution?
Yeah.
Okay, but we can approve it as written. It will just change the back copies. So this we can approve as written. We'll just change the the resolution
right.
itself.
The resolution's on there.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is the new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a minor edit. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Just make note of that when we do the motion.
Okay. And again, that's just for 34 ramps along West Palmer Avenue. That's the area around the school. That'll be most desirable for the grant committee reviewing the grant. So we felt that was the best. And in the past, Morrisville has only gotten $100,000 from this grant to do curb ramps. And it's for curb ramps, it's not as competitive as other important road widenings for bike paths, other trails, et cetera, like that. Curb ramps are not as desirable for the grant, but they're still eligible. So if there's any questions on that, I can answer about that one.
No.
Okay, perfect. And then the last one that I have is your action item number 11J, which is for approval of PKB contractors to complete some additional work in the Melvin Avenue Basin for $11,800. This is just maintenance work. The contractor completed this work in 2021, and the maintenance period unfortunately ended. There is still some grant funding that is available. I know the council president and the manager have signed that extension. We have not, though, heard back if the grant was fully extended. We're still waiting for the state side to approve that. So if you want to recommend approval of this based on getting that grant amendment secured, we should hear about it here in the next, hopefully, the week or so. It's been in there for 2 weeks now. So, but it's for, if you have the.
So should we hold off and approve this for next month?
So I would say it needs to be at least ready to go. If we can get the contractor in there as soon as possible, because the grant extension, I'm not sure if they're going to give us the 6 months or the year extension.
Is it pending?
Okay, so it would be pending. What's the verbiage?
Pending the extension.
Pending the extension, yeah.
Okay, got it.
And again, that's just for maintenance items. So there's some dead trees in there that will be replaced. There's a lot of invasive cattail species that also need removed. We are going to also install some large rocks at the big in pipe into the basin to help slow down that water and slow down the erosion through that channel. And reseeding everything and trying to get the grass to stabilize and come up through and stabilize the basin itself.
Okay, great.
That's what that work is for. And that is all I have to discuss.
Thank you for explaining that.
No problem. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yes.
Okay, Borough Manager report.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to just let everyone know that we had a discussion with our sanitation department, Republic Services. They would like to come into the borough an hour earlier because of the extreme heat conditions. And we don't see a problem with that, but we are putting that information on our website and all of the social media sites that we do have to let everyone know to be able to put your trash out earlier. If there's a problem, they have also agreed to come back and pick the trash up if there is a problem. I have an email that states that, so if everyone could please make sure to have your trash out an hour earlier due to the warm weather conditions. We greatly appreciate that. The other item that I wanted to elaborate on was the Manor Park Playground. We currently had acquired a grant for $300,000. We have some entities helping us with that grant. We have a donation for engineering. We have another donation for equipment. We're also working with Bucks County in regards to the senior center because they have a grant for their issues with their stormwater. So all of these items are being worked on together. So you will begin to see some of the playground equipment come down at Manor Park. So everyone is aware this is what we're doing. We hope to have the project completed by the end of this year, if not into next year, depending upon the timing of being able to get some of the equipment.
We're not going to remove equipment until the work is ready, but the equipment that has been removed is because of it's damaged.
Correct, but we will begin to remove items this year prior to the new stuff coming in. We have to be able to get and prepare the area. So you will see that eventually it will be taken down.
Okay.
Some of the other items that I'd like to touch upon is some of the accomplishments that took place in the past couple years. I wanted to say thank you, all of you, for working so diligently with me as your manager. It's been a pleasure to work here in Morrisville. I've worked with many of the different groups and committees, and then we've accomplished a lot. We were able to complete the Delaware Canal Bridge Street project, which was a wonderful project. We had a wonderful ribbon cutting ceremony. We've been working on the flood protection conduit and camera project. We've been working on training with Edmonds and payroll. We're happy to again announce the $80,000 donation that I received for the fully equipped Chevy Tahoe for the truck enforcement. We're waiting for that truck to arrive. It was supposed to arrive sometime in June. We're hoping that it will be arriving shortly. We worked on many different projects, a new gas boy system, a new roof for the Borough building, new electrical panels for the Borough building. We replaced the sewer line at the library. We replaced the sewer line at Borough Hall. We replaced the HVAC system at the ambulance building. All of these were taxpayer-free and paid by ARPA funds. We've reviewed and analyzed the payroll when transfers took place. We found some deficiencies. We're currently working on correcting that. We've corrected the library payroll and unemployment payments. We went through some prior years of 5 years of audits with the pension and corrected the resolutions to ordinances and the findings. We created a road opening forms and process. We also created the Knox box and the fire inspection system, which we implemented that system. The ordinances were already in place at the borough, and we implemented that. We had done several different vacant properties rehabilitations. One is 327 Prospect Avenue. We also now have about $235,000 in a special account, so we can move forward with the RDA for future blighted projects. We completed a prior year audit, 3-year audit with highway aids and liquid fuels, corrected the discrepancies, and we now have approximately $600,000 in our liquid fuels account, so we can do more highway aid projects because we did do our 2023 road project, which consisted of Hillcrest, Stockham, and Clymer. There are many, many more items that we did complete. We currently have a surplus in our general fund. When I arrived, we really struggled to pay payroll, and now the monies are there. All of the employees here work diligently, and department heads, so we could work diligently for the Morrisville Borough to make sure that now, with the future, the funds are there to accomplish all the things that you would like to accomplish. So this is wonderful for the borough. I'll be leaving the borough in excellent shape with the different funds and so forth, so I'm so happy to discuss all that with you. But again, at this time, I would like to thank everyone who helped accomplish all of these items. There are many more accomplishments beyond this list, although it's too many to log. I could never have accomplished all this without the help of employees and everyone here. It was an honor to serve the residents of Morrisville. I would like this to be entered, this attachment to be entered into this evening's meeting minutes, if I may. And again, I would like to thank all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Oh, one more item. I was very lucky to have the borough support me. I was able to go to the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs and have the 25-year plus award. So thank you all, council, for supporting me with all of that. It's been a true honor. Thank you all.
Thank you, Judith, and thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Solicitor report?
Yes, just to start off, I'd just like to thank Judith as well, working with her these last 3 years. Wish her well as we're moving forward, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Scott.
The only other thing I have is at your last meeting, we had the applicant here from 50 Penn Avenue. Just want to see, based on what they've presented here today, if you would still like our office to attend the zoning hearing board meeting next month. We don't really need a formal vote. You can just talk about it and just give us consensus, a little direction, now that they've come in and sort of explained their project versus just the random application. I mean,
Council, do you want to send, just shake your head, say no? No? No, council? Okay. Oh, they're gone. So,
I'll talk. I see like plenty of time, so I'll talk to him in the morning.
All right. So we will not be sending you to the zoning hearing board meeting.
Okay. Other than that, I have nothing else to discuss for this evening until we get to other action items. If you have any questions, obviously.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. The police chief report. Ms. Sergeant Aspermani. Oh my gosh, I think he's blushing.
Handing this off to the new chief.
Maybe we'll ask you back.
Hi, everyone. Well, compared from this year, the month of May, last year, we're up calls 3%. It was 4,382 this year, 4,251 last year. So we're getting a little bit busier. Some Part 1 crimes are up a little bit more than normal, 19%. There's been a lot of break-ins, vehicles. So you want to lock your vehicles, kind of keeps the bad guys out of there.
Are most of the vehicles unlocked?
Most of them are, yeah. There's really not a whole lot of damage. Of course, there are some of the windows get broken out. Some they're vehicle thefts.
Okay.
There has been a lot of people leaving keys in. People have more than one car. They'll leave a key fob in another car. So when the people pull handles and they get in this one vehicle, we've had it happen this morning. They get the key fob, they hit the button, it activates the car, and they leave. So just something to be cognizant about.
Okay. Residents, lock your cars.
Part 2 offenses, which are some of the more serious offenses, down 7%.
What are part 2?
Part 2 are assaults, arson, fraud. We did have one significant arson this year. That kind of raised that a little bit. Some aggravated assaults and some other offenses. But overall, we're down 2%.
That's great.
Arrests are down a little bit this year, 87 for the month of May compared to 97 last year in 23. But things are getting more busy because it was a warm May actually. But as the weather warms up, we seem to have more crime.
Okay. That's normal, right?
Yes, that's correct. Revenues, we're up 3% from last year, the month of May, compared to this year, the month of May, which is $65,638 this year for May, and last year was $65,523. So it's just up a little bit, and that's traffic revenues, parking tickets, traffic violations. And lastly, some of our traffic numbers are a little bit down for traffic violations. We're working on that. Just been a little short on manpower here and there.
We know. We're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. There's an agenda item. I don't know if you noticed, to hire some officers.
I just got the new one today.
It is 11E.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For the lastly, officers' monthly report, there was 404 radio calls, 418 pickups, which are officer-initiated calls. So that's a total of 822 for the month of May. That's about all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Questions?
I have one. Just curious if you have any numbers on I'm not sure the title of Taylor.
Taylor, the social worker that's a co-responder that's out. How is she doing?
That program is amazing. She's amazing. She has helped us a lot already. We keep her busy. There's a lot of stuff that we deal with that has mental health behind it. And she's been wonderful. I have to say, we really need to keep that in place, keep her going with us.
Are you, as Melissa asked, are you keeping numbers on that? Like how many calls she's helped with or anything?
I don't have that to date, but there's been quite a few. I worked with her at least every shift I work. There's something that she helps us out with.
I'm sure we could probably get numbers from her maybe, but
yeah.
Yeah, Sarge, I'm sure we can get that from the county as well for, since she's part of the county, so we can always ask and see.
Yeah.
But she's been a great asset to the department.
Great asset.
So, but
Good to hear
also
you.
thank you to you for your leadership and stepping up during this time. We appreciate it.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I see Officer Hallis back there. Does he want to say anything about trucks? I know there is. I'm sorry, it's acting corporal. I'm sorry.
Good evening, council and mayor. Not much of an update. Our quarterly inspections that I have to get done for trucks, we're up to date with that. The truck traffic has seemed to slow down a little bit. I've had multiple drivers approach me while out asking if I can stop doing what I'm doing.
No. That's no.
That's the answer there. Once manpower permits more, which I know you guys have a plan for, I plan on being out there as much as I can and continuing to do everything we can about the truck issues. That's really all I got for
Okay.
as far as trucks go.
I know the residents have been seeing you out there, and they're very appreciative, they tell me. So thank you.
No problem. I know the Tahoe was delivered.
Oh, great.
As far as timeline, I'm guessing sometime in the fall, we'll be ready for pickup. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's in the works as well.
Oh, great. Thank you. No. Yeah, after the meeting you can.
I have a question.
Oh, Officer House?
Yes, I don't think my mic's working.
Hello. Let's see if it'll. So how often are you out there? I know that I have some friends who are truck drivers, and they usually see you early in the morning. Are you there different hours of the day, or are you there once a week, day, or what? Can you kind of give I know you can't. Well, I know the trucks will know, but I'm not trying to sabotage anything, but I have a lot of phone calls about it. So.
Well, what kind of phone calls are you getting?
I'm getting that they see no changes and they never see you. And I know that's just not true.
What company is that?
Not company, people. I will say, though, I've been told by a couple of the truck drivers from different companies, mostly the dump trucks, that if their bosses have told them if they're caught on Pennsylvania Avenue, they'll lose their jobs. So, when I live in that area, and I will see sometimes 15, 16 trucks in a row coming off the freeway and turning down Philadelphia Avenue.
Maybe you can give him an idea of what day of the week you see that and what time of day. Maybe he could,
Yeah.
So I think one of the problems with the officer house is that we are down officers, and so he has to patrol. That's his first.
Right, and I tell people that.
Yeah. So he does it whenever he has free time, and it was last week, right? I saw you maybe 5 times with trucks pulled over. Yeah.
Well, and there was some good response on Facebook seeing you there. So thank you very much. But
really, whenever manpower permits right now, but if
good.
I see something that needs to be addressed, it gets addressed at that time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I know that there was concerns about speeding on South Pennsylvania Avenue, primarily with the commercial motor vehicles. When Chief Simpson was here, he did have me do a detail early in the morning where I was able to run speed, and I clocked 117 vehicles, and 4 of which were speeding, being at 11 miles an hour or above the posted speed limit.
That's a big deal on that street.
It is, and none of them were commercial motor vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So
Did you all hear that? None of them were commercial.
there is trucks that speed.
Yes.
We all see.
Yes.
But that's another thing that we will address and
Okay.
take care of in the near future. But again, with more manpower coming in, I'll be, getting after it more. So it should only get better from here.
I was also told that North Point in the morning directs the trucks as they're coming out to not come down Pennsylvania.
That's correct as of right now.
Yes.
The council president from our last meeting with North Point was able to have them start directing trucks in Tyburn Road.
Yeah, right.
So that's been working out in our favor as well.
Well, thank you for telling me what you could tell me
Thank you.
without divulging secrets.
Awesome job, Lou. Thank you.
So I'm going to go out of order a little bit, as long as we're with the police officers.
Action item 11A is approving an employment agreement with Jim Dillon. So Chief Dillon is actually, oh, I'm sorry, that's something else. Where am I thinking? Where is that? D, it's 11D, approval of employment agreement with Rich Ciampa to serve as the new chief of police. So Chief Ciampa is here, so if you wanted to stand up and just say something. No, right there on the podium. So you're off, there's 4 officers back there, so when you're done, you can go introduce yourself to them.
I met 2 of them.
Okay.
So, my name is Rich Ciampa, and I want to start by saying how excited, honored, and humble I am just to be here tonight.
If I could just interrupt you.
Yes.
The folks online won't be able to hear you if you're not on the mic.
I'm sorry.
Pull it out.
Yeah, just pull it out.
I'm not a microphone guy. Can I move?
Yes, you can move around.
Okay.
Just keep it close.
Okay.
And you need to be on camera. You see the camera over there?
Yes.
So you need to be by the podium.
Oh, okay. I'll stay here. I didn't want to have my back to everyone.
Oh, you want to stand here and John can move the camera?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. I want to begin by saying how grateful I am. And Mayor Wallace, Council President Halaho, and the entire governing body has made me feel absolutely welcome since the beginning of this process. And I am more than excited to be here and lead the next generation of police officers in Morrisville Borough. I come here tonight not only as your next police chief, but in hopes of being the next member of this community. And I come with 25 years of law enforcement experience as a police officer in a community. I'm sorry.
Lift it up. And then you could turn around.
I can turn around, sorry.
Yeah.
Very similar to this one. So I understand very well the nuances and uniqueness and the importance of community relationships and what makes small town community policing. So I am super excited to get started. I think in a couple weeks, it'll be official and I want to hit the ground running. To the community here, I want to say that my goal is going to be to continue to provide the highest level of police services. End of story. That's it. And to the officers in the back, I met a few of you already. I am absolutely excited to work with you guys and ladies and learn from you and grow this police department together. So I think that everything that I've heard so far tonight, Sergeant Aspermonti and Corporal Hallis, outstanding. I'm fired up. I'm so motivated to want to work with this agency and be a part of this community. So I thank everyone. I'll probably ramble a little more at the next meeting when I'm officially sworn in, but
I'm going to have to thank Sergeant Aspermonti for that mic.
well, he did a fantastic job, so I think we can share it. So, but I would like to say again, thank you to everyone in the governing body for having the confidence in me to leading this police department and working together with you and being part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now on to the consent agenda. All right. 10A is approval of the minutes from 5/21/24 council meeting. Approval of the bill list from 5/1/5/31 in the amount of $556,523.99. Approval of payment in the amount of $110,000 to the Morrisville Fire Company as per the 2024 fire budget, contingent upon receipt of their 2023 financial statement, the schedule of events, and the current roster and 2023 audit. Approval payment to Capital Health EMS in the amount of $37,000, $52,000 per the 2024 EMS fund budget, less $15,000 for the annual rental fee for 139 North Washington Street per the contract, contingent upon receipt of their 2023 financial statement and audit. Approval to adopt a resolution of the Borough of Morrisville, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, to re-adopt the comprehensive plan update prepared by the Bucks County Planning Commission. Approval of Bitch and Kidding Brewery, Inc. as a vendor selling beer at the Music and Food Festival on Saturday, 7/13 in Williamson Park, pending completion of vendor application and payment of required fees. Approval of Bitch and Kitten Brewery, Inc. as a vendor selling beer at the Jazz Festival on Sunday, 8/18/2024 in Williamson Park, pending completion of vendor application and payment of required fees. Approval of Bitch and Kitten Brewery as a vendor selling beer at the Irish Festival on Sunday, 9/18/24 in Williamson Park, pending completion of vendor application and payment of required fees. Approval of resolution that has been updated of the Borough Council of Morrisville of the Borough of Morrisville, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the request to apply for the Multimodal Transportation Fund Grant through the Commonwealth Financing Authority and designating officials to execute documents in furtherance of this request. We are going to ask for the 30% match waive. Approval of payment in the amount of $10,327.25 to QPI Electrical Co., Inc., Borough Hall, to be paid out of ARPA funds. Approval of the Police Department applying for Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership BVP program with a 50% borough cost match. Andrew Lubin, would you make the motion?
All right, so moved.
Catherine, would you second? Listen, could you not, first we need to make the motions. We first make the motions.
Okay.
No, the motion, the council has discussion and then public can discuss.
Oh, yeah.
And then we will vote.
I'll do second.
Okay, Catherine, you'll second it?
Yes.
Catherine, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, council?
Good. Okay. The only question I have is on E, the approval to adopt a resolution on the Morrisville Readopt Comprehensive Plan. And I know, Don, you sent this to us a while ago, and we're hoping that we would get this done. My only question is, I didn't see it back then, so I'm trying to get it done read before, but it was 193 pages, and my packet was 140 pages. So has everybody read it and feels good about it? Because I haven't had a chance to read it all.
This was, I forget, Scott, so this was approved back in 2020?
March of 2021.
March of 2021, council approved it, and then a resolution needed to be filed. But that was the year that Scott Mitchell passed away?
This was like the first meeting after Scott passed. He had been handling it for the borough. But it was just one of those things that fell through the cracks. It was adopted based on the recommendations from our planning commission, what they would, and was adopted unanimously at that meeting. And just with him not being there, all the housekeeping didn't get done. So what ended up happening is earlier in the spring, the Bucks County Planning Commission just contacted us just to see if we can get them the resolution, just because.
Okay, so was Williamson Park part of that original resolution or that plan?
In what way? They talk about a lot of things. So they talk about the park generally. Are you referencing anything specifically?
Development or any of that? Because that's when stuff was going on.
So at the time, so the way, what a comprehensive plan really is, it's a planning document from the standpoint, it addresses a snapshot in time and projections into the future. Going back and reading through it, what it addresses, we're talking about the McGrath plan. So it does address that. It brings it up just because that was something that was there at the time. It doesn't give any, what's the word I'm looking for here? Recommendations, thoughts, approvals, comments on it. It's just in the document that it noticed that it was there at the time. And I believe at one point it says, the borough has to examine whether it thinks it's a good program or not. And, something that was presented as a concept plan in 2019. Obviously, this council has done that in rejecting it. We've moved on.
Okay.
So it's really it was a snapshot in time of something that was proposed and related to development in the comprehensive plan that they just have to include, but it's not that it's going to be moved forward or it's a good idea. There was no value judgment of what that was. It was literally just acknowledging it was there, saying that, in the future, council is going to have to make a decision on this. And obviously,
we did.
You did.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, and any other questions? Okay, any public comment on the agendas? Don?
I have a question for Helen.
Okay.
The selling the beer in the park, is that open to anyone else in town, or is that exclusively to one business? Because we have several other businesses in town, that established businesses that have been here a long time. And I'm not saying I'm not nothing against Bitch and Kitty, but there's establishments in town that that may not have an opportunity to do this. Are they able to go apply for a permit and go down there and join the Bitch and Kitty, or is it exclusive to Bitch and Kitty? I'm just wondering the answers to that.
I don't think it's inclusive of it. It's just these are the people this is a person that has applied. He applied last year too. So, but it's Bitch and Kitten, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the proper name.
So you did not, did he come to you and want to be in the park? I think Scott is asking if another establishment wants to participate, can they participate in your event?
Sure, but I went to all the different establishments except for maybe one of the newest ones. But yeah, I mean, it was open. I handed all this stuff out months and months ago.
I think Scott's question, if somebody decided all of a sudden that they want to join, they contact you and they can join, unless I'm misinterpreting Scott's question.
No, I don't think that.
My question would be like, I'm having a hard time hearing over the thing. Was that Catherine? Was that you that went around?
Yes, I'm sorry, my mic isn't working. We did go around, and
did you speak to Steve Dacey at Dacey's Pub and Mr. Pileski at the Robert Morris, within the borough limits proper?
Dacey was contacted. Yeah, I don't know if I hit Robert Morris, but but we hit other places too. I can drop something by if they want to participate. I don't really care. I mean, the thing is, you have to remember, not all places, because we can't have like hard liquor. It can just be beer or wine. So we have to stay within.
Right.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
The Robert Morris and Dacey's Pub, they sell beer and wine.
Yes, and we contacted Dacey's to do the Irish, but they couldn't do it. So.
Okay, and the vendors are aware of the fees?
Yes, they are. The only fee that was checked was a special events fee, and since we already, we're the ones that's sponsoring it, it's as though if they were sponsoring it. But all the other fees they have checked, and they're just waiting for approval.
What fees? I don't.
So there's a special event fee of $300 for each event, and then there's a $25 vendor application fee. The Bitch and Kitten is with the understanding that it would just be a $25 vendor fee. So would this be a request to deviate from the $300 event fee, vendor fee? I'm sorry.
Well, I think they have other fees, because aren't they responsible to so much for police?
Yes, and that was one of the other items we wanted to make sure of. The applicant did not seem to understand that there was a fee for public works if they need to clean up or they need to do any work whatsoever. If there needs to be a police officer at the event, there would be payment for that. So the applicant did not provide us with any fees at this time.
No, because they're waiting for approval.
Sure. So what we wanted to make sure of, just as for staff in the office, what fees would we be charging for with regards to Parks and Recreation? So if we could get that clarified.
Yeah, as I understood it, because there was confusion last year that they had a special event fee for $300, which was a stage, as though they were having a special event, when the only events that can have alcohol are events that are sponsored by the borough. So we could keep that contained. But there are expenses towards police and Public Works and vendor. So the vendor fee.
I don't think that's right. I don't think that only, if somebody came to us and wanted to have a beer fest, as long as the borough approved it, we can have that.
Not in the ordinance that we approved.
I thought it was.
No, it isn't.
Excuse me, didn't we kick that can forward? Some of those fees we discussed, we never were resolved or agreed
No,
to.
they weren't resolved.
They were not. We originally said it would be the $300 fee, which is actually in the fee schedule as a special event, but again,
then we need to adjust
it's
the name
really
of that.
something that council needs to make a
Yeah,
decision.
the other fees were discussed but not agreed to, or at least not finalized.
Yes, it was proposed $300, and then that's on the fee schedule along with police, public works, and then the vendor fee itself. So as I said, we need clarification to move forward. We do have these applications at the Borough Hall office, and we just need to have clarification as to how to move forward with the applicant.
Right. Yeah, and there's kind of a deadline too, so that we got to get it done.
So what is the issue that council needs to decide?
Whether they're going to allow them to participate.
And the fees.
And the fees.
So council, what are you thinking about the fees over this?
So if I'm understanding, there's a $300 fee for being a part of the park or doing an event.
For an event, yes.
And then because this is a vendor and they intend to sell, that there's also a $25 fee.
Correct.
So it sounds like, if anything, since this is all from the one, this is $325.
Correct.
And these are not waivable fees unless council agrees to waive it, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
I don't see the point in waiving it.
I wouldn't suggest waiving them because, I mean, they're going to make a lot of money, and so I don't have a problem with this keeping fees.
So another question. If it's a $300 fee, let's say that Mr. Dacey or Mr. Koleski want to join in and provide beer and wine at the summer concert that's coming up. So will that be $300 a piece, or would they split the? So let's say the Robert Morris wanted to participate. Would the Robert Morris and the Bitch and Kitty split the 300, or is it 300 a piece?
It's 300 apiece. Yeah. Yeah, of course it is. It's three different businesses.
The 25 is the $25 is what we charge like the vendors, like the food truck and they sell their relics or dinosaur stones and stuff that they sell down there, and bracelets and sketch artists and stuff.
Yeah.
But the $300 that's for police and for Public Works to clean up. If there's two businesses down there selling, then we're getting $600, and so the only thing I can assume with that math is that we're assuming with an additional vendor, double the amount of people are going to show up.
Why would we not?
If it's $300, why would it be three? So it would be 25 each. I get that the bar A would pay 25, bar B would pay 25. Now, if there's only bar A down there, they're going to pay the $300 fee to set up shop, plus the $25 they're going to pay.
Okay,
If bar B shows up and bar A and bar B are both there.
I would say, Scott, my thing would be that it's $300 per event, and if we have 4 vendors, I would say that they split it. It's $300.
I can't believe I'm saying that, but I agree with Scott.
You think it should be both?
No, I think that we should split it.
Yeah, we should split it. Okay. Does anybody want to waive this?
No,
I don't think we should waive it.
Okay.
Not at all.
I'm just asking council. All right, so, I'm sorry, please don't. Listen, it's not public comment yet. I don't want to be mean, but this is council discussion at this point. Council, you're all good with what's written? It's $325 plus whatever.
And would there be additional fees for the police, public works?
Are we going to do police and public works?
Well, we didn't have it. It hasn't been marked on the fee schedule. The only ones that were highlighted was the 325 and the 25.
I believe the police and the public works are on the application
but we
itself.
Haven't checked. We didn't
They're
check
on
that.
the application,
Okay.
so that would be something that we would have to waive.
So are we waiving our police?
If you want to.
Is there a fee for that, for them?
The cost of whatever the police would be and whatever Public Works would be.
I don't see why we should waive it. We're going to incur costs. Why should we waive it the entire thing? Well, let's run a few of these things, see how it works out, see what the trash generated is. We can always waive it in the future, or we can change it in the future.
I would be okay waiving the Public Works because they always clean up after an event in the park. But the police, how many police officers will you would need at this event?
Well, so far we haven't needed any, but this is the first time we'll have like the Food and Truck Festival where we'll have 7, which is a really popular band, and we'll be serving alcohol. I mean, we'll have food trucks there. So we don't. Can I be honest with you? We don't know how many people. Last year, we anticipated a lot, and there was a national weather advisor. And 100 people showed up and left.
Okay, Melissa, what do you think?
I think a police presence is necessary.
Okay.
I don't think we should waive it, but I'm not sure what the offset should be. I think there needs to be a little more time in thinking about what the appropriate amount to charge would be.
And prior to this, we would utilize our police chief's thought process because of the fact that he would know if it's a weekend, if it would be overtime, or if it would be, an inconvenience to have to bring other officers in, that type of thing. So I think that we really do need to have a discussion with our new chief and to see what the cost would be. Because really it was a pass-through cost. We didn't make any money for these events, but it would just be a pass-through cost. So I don't know if that's helpful.
I don't see a problem unless it's going to kind of close the door on at least approving this much of it. But I think there should be something said we need to ascertain what the cost could and or should be for the police presence.
Yes, and then with this ordinance, there's supposed to be a meeting with the police chief, with the Parks and Recreation Committee, and the manager and so forth, so we know what the anticipated amount of persons could possibly be. At that point, the police chief could make an educated guess as to how many officers would be needed. The borough manager would be able to make an educated guess as to what would be needed via Public Works, et cetera. So
do we want to then 325 and the borough will split with the event for the police and we'll waive Public Works?
Let's go with that. And if it's way over,
Council, is that okay? Yes.
As long as we review it after an event to see how this works out.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the first event is in July, so that's what we'll do for the July event, and then we'll see how it works, and we'll fine tune it going forward, because those will have meetings, and then the police chief will be here, and you can have more conversations with him.
Can we approve the 3 events?
Yeah, we'll approve the 3.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
what we're going to do is for 10F, we're going to say that the police will be split between the borough and the vendor, and it's a $325 fee, and the rest we're going to leave the same, where we will still discuss the pending fees. Okay, any comments from the public on this? On anything on the consent agenda? Go ahead.
Deborah Colvin, 120 West Hendrickson Avenue. My comment is related to item 10E, approval of the updated comprehensive plan. Council really should table this item and review the document first, as it has some inaccuracies, such as the zoning map is wrong, some other items that could be cleared up very quickly. And there were additional edits that were discussed by the council at the time, but they never made their way into the version that you're now seeing. And the Williamson Park Town Center is included, and a little more than the solicitor suggested. But the developer has pulled out, as we know, and council has learned now that any similar plan is not viable for many, many reasons. So it needs to be removed because it needs to be removed. This is a good opportunity to make needed tweaks and to not approve a comprehensive plan that does not truly reflect what our residents want for the borough. It was approved in 2021 because the comprehensive plan was just called just busy work by some council member and not a binding plan, and they just wanted to get it done despite some council members' misgivings. But a comprehensive plan should not be considered frivolous or inconsequential. The introduction to the document states, a comprehensive plan is an official public document that serves as a policy guide to decision-making about physical development in a community. It is an explicit statement of a community's future plan and vision. It also says the purpose of this plan is to understand the current state of Morrisville Borough and to use that information to plan for the future. And a comprehensive plans should articulate and express the ideas so that future policy choices are clear and consensus-driven. The updated comprehensive plan could really be a good one that actually we would all agree on. It represents a lot of hard work by our Planning Commission and has lots of good stuff in it. It's referenced when you're securing grants, so let's not look silly and when you have to use a plan that has incorrect information, especially simple errors that you could correct at first. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, go ahead, Don. I will. I'll go like this, and then I'll go like this. Okay. Okay.
I don't mind.
Maybe I'll give you a couple more seconds. How's that?
I would appreciate it. You'll have to make a game time decision.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Because I'm with her. I am here to speak about item 10E.
Your name?
Is Don Rice, and I live on Crown Street in Morrisville.
Thank you.
And I should say that I didn't write what I'm going to be reading here first. It was written by Mary Herenda, and I am reading it for her. She could not be here tonight. Item 10E on the consent agenda, approval to adopt a resolution to re-adopt the comprehensive plan update prepared by the Bucks County Planning Commission should not be voted on in tonight's meeting. The draft comprehensive plan update that council wants to re-adopt is dated February 2021. It is seriously out of date in that it makes references to Joseph McGrath / Select Morrisville's plan to develop Williamson Park into a shopping center, hotel, and apartment complex. This plan has been withdrawn. Furthermore, Borough Solicitor Flager has stated in a recent Borough Council meeting that Williamson Park is protected from being used as anything but a park under the Donated and Dedicated Property Act, except for the portion of the park that belongs to the 3 churches in Trenton and is leased to the borough under a 99-year lease. This part of the park, too, is protected from development because it is held by the churches under a deed of trust that states that it must always be used as a park to benefit the people of Trenton and Morrisville. Any reference to any plan to develop the park must be removed from the comprehensive plan before it can be voted on for adoption. That ends her comment. I have my own, too. That's why I said I need to know when I'm getting short on time. Including item 10E on the consent agenda is a misuse of the consent agenda. The comprehensive plan includes some controversial information. I mean, Save Williamson Park still exists. The blight report still exists. And burying this info in a consent agenda gives the appearance of council is attempting to discourage public comment. Please remove this item from the consent agenda and correct the mistakes and outdated info, then schedule your vote. And like Debbie said, beyond just Williamson Park, the development of Williamson Park, there are just simple mistakes in the zoning map. I know there are residential properties that are zoned as park. There are residential properties, single condos, that are zoned as multifamily apartments. There are mistakes, and you need to correct them. There's a reason it wasn't approved at the time, because it wasn't correct. So if you go ahead and send something back to the county that is incorrect and hasn't been updated, it is going to not be a benefit to Morrisville as it should be. and I think it should be a benefit. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, I just want to reiterate that the plan was voted on and approved back in 2020. This is just the resolution that, is it the county was looking for? Yes, that the county was looking for.
On the agenda tonight is confusing because I've never heard of the phrase re-adopt.
It's what you're doing. It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
I should say it's what you would be doing.
Yeah, I mean, if Ms. Scott Mitchell didn't pass away, the resolution would have been done. No, he
He died 2 weeks before this meeting.
Yeah.
It is still an incorrect plan.
Understood.
Opportunity to correct it. I would ask that you do and not vote on it tonight.
But we're not voting on the plan, we're just voting on a resolution.
So yes, I understand you. What I would be asking you to do is to remove it from the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
Peggy Walsh, Stockham Avenue. I would just like to reiterate my concern about, I'm on the Planning Commission. I didn't have anything to do with this particular report, but reading Chapter 7 about Williamson Park, it is woefully out of date, and it really still talks about creating 4 luxury apartments, buildings, a hotel, several retail shops, restaurant, a 22,000 square foot grocery store, an urgent care, and a bank. That's what's in the comprehensive plan that you're saying that you want to approve. I really think that you shouldn't be approving a plan that's already been rejected, especially with Williamson Park. And in regard to that, I would really like at some point the council to take an up-down vote on whether you support preserving Williamson Park and the ball fields, because I still am afraid, despite our council's assurances, that unless it's codified in writing someplace, that we could be in danger of, in the future, more plans to develop this park. I don't think that's dead yet. And I've even heard people express ideas about getting rid of some of the baseball fields, and that's people that are sitting right here in front of me. And it's not, that fight doesn't seem to be over, and if we approve this plan, I think that's going to be a problem. I also would like to comment on 10B, the approval of the bill list. Maybe I missed it, but I still don't see the invoice on here for the amount of money we paid the consulting firm for the search for the new police chief. I do see that we paid over $9,000 to the acting police chief last month, or to our interim police chief last month. For remote and on-site work. Seems like a hefty salary, but I don't see the consulting fee firm. So did we not get that yet? Because you assured me it would be. Am I just missing it on the budget?
I was just going to say, so actually, when you had come to the podium last month and said it was not on the list, I had listened to what you said, and instead of checking it, it really was on the list.
Oh, it was on
yes.
the list.
And I had said it would be, but then I thought, oh, well, she said it's not. Maybe something happened.
Okay.
But it was, and it's under aspirant.
Yes.
And it is there. I apologize. I can't quote the cost. Mayor, do you know the cost?
Does anybody have that cost?
In the 5,000.
Around 5,000, I think, that for that one. And
That's what was on the
yes,
bill list from last.
I believe the total cost was maybe.
I can't, don't hold me to the number, but it's 54 something.
Yes, and
if you still have that last one, if not, I have it in my house and I'll
Okay.
check.
All right.
yes, but continue to please look at the bills list because you will see more.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council, we have a motion, we have a second. Can I have, all in favor, say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes 7-0.
I'm sorry, I did want to just oppose. I would like to have it tabled, but I apologize. That can said sooner.
I'm sorry, what happened?
I oppose.
Oh, so 7.
Yeah. 10E.
10E, okay. 10E is 6-1, everything else is 7-1. Okay, the action items. Should we do roll call? Okay, item 11A, approval of an employment agreement with Jim Dillon to serve as the interim borough manager. Catherine, would you make that motion?
I so move.
Marie, would you second?
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, I just want to say Jim Dillon is coming to us as an interim borough manager, and I would like to thank Bristol Borough for being so kind and benevolent as to lend him to us. You know, he's done some marvelous things in Bristol Borough, and I hope that he comes here and he does some marvelous things for us. So any public comment on that? He is interim. He is interim. We'll see how the future goes, if he likes it or not. So, okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Welcome, Mr. Dillon. We want to accept the John Vitarelli's letter of resignation from his 3rd Ward Council position, effective June 18th, 2024. Marie, would you make a motion?
Motion.
Andrew, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Discussion. Okay, no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Did you want to ask for public?
No. Oh, public comment?
Yeah.
Oh, any public comment on that? Okay, motion second, no public comment. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Approval to advertise the 3rd Ward Borough Council position just vacated by John Vitarelli. Melissa, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Catherine, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any council discussion? Public comment? No public comment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Approval of employment agreement with Rich Ciampa to serve as the new chief of police pending completion of a background check. Luke, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Andrew, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Any public comment? No public comment?
Just add the annual salary.
Oh.
We can just announce it, is all. Yeah, and just so everyone's verification, the annual salary will be $140,000.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. No public comment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Welcome, Chief Ciampa. Good luck. Okay, we need an approval of tendering conditional offers of employment per Act 57 to hire full-time police officers with Michelle Williamson and Chris Carlin pending a background investigation. Melissa, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Andrew, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Conversation? Anything from the public? Nothing from the public. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Welcome, new officers. Approval of verified leadership group to conduct officers' pre-employment background checks. Luke, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Andrew, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation? Anything from the public? Nothing from the public. All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstentions? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Approval to adopt an ordinance of the Council of the Morrisville Borough, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, providing for the regulation of imposition of penalties for noise, behavior, and activities that are a nuisance, disorderly, and/or disturb the peace. Melissa, make the motion.
So moved.
Catherine, second. Second. Motion and a second. Any conversation? Nothing? Anything from the public? This is a noise ordinance.
Could you state your name and
Yeah, if you'd like to have, come up and state your name and, oh, I did.
Lisa Weinhardt, 846 North Pennsylvania. Is there a time associated with this noise ordinance? Like a time of night that people have to, shut down parties and such?
The whole noise ordinance is available at Borough Hall, correct? Yeah, and it will be on our website. I don't recall off the top of my head all the details of the ordinance. The solicitor has it here.
So you're passing something that's not, the information's not at hand?
Well, we have it. It's just I don't recall the solicitor's looking at it.
Yeah, I'll just look. The answer was yes. There's a specific time. Yeah, it's between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. That's this is an updated one. It's what's the word I'm looking for here? Similar to the one we currently have. We're expanding it is all. Those are the times in the current one that was in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, I think the last time was 10 p.m., I believe.
Well, I think we're expanding it, so that's why we're approving it to add additional things and the times.
And is that every night or weekend nights, or is it specific to certain days?
Every night.
Every night. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, public comment, okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. And I'm sorry, I forgot 11G. So approval to add the Celebration Advisory Committee, CAC, to the committees, boards, and commissions. Andrew, could you make that motion?
So moved.
Luke, would you second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any conversation? So the mayor and I have been working on this committee, and there is a explanation of what we would like it to do. We've been playing around with the name, and we might be changing the name. What was some of the ideas, Mayor?
Oh, don't give me a line written down.
Okay. Well, at any rate, we might change the name. But what we would like this to really be is we would like this to have a lot of residents involved, sort of like Raise the Bar in Bristol. All talent is welcome. If you'd like to do grants, we'll work. There'll be things to do work on grants. If you like events, you can work on events. What were some of the other things?
Well, the Community Advancement Council was one of them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just getting a team together of a bunch of different residents that, want to move Morrisville forward, trying to look to go out. Hopefully we get people with different backgrounds. So, someone that's good at marketing, or someone that's, good at finances or social media, or whatever it may be, to go out and try and make our events here in Morrisville much better for the community, and also trying to make our events a little bit more annual, so they could be more consistent for the community to come out, and they know, like, every August we're having the mayor's picnic. So, really looking to find a bunch of people. It doesn't matter of how much time you want to give or how little time. If you have some time to give, this is something to join.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily just events. I mean, Raise the Bar in Bristol did many things. They were working on this, what is that called, the cityscapes of the town. So it's really to try to move Morrisville forward, just like Bristol moved themselves forward. So
if there could be someone in there that, knows how to do grant writing, go out there and let's try and find that money for our community that's out there. That's one of the biggest things here, to try and bring what we can into Morrisville.
Or even if you have ideas, bring your ideas to us. And this is not a council committee. The council will be involved just in the beginning, just to have people there, but it's really a resident committee. Just like Raise the Bar was, residents got together and just started moving the town. So I hope that people will start contacting and joining this committee. Any other comments from council? No? Any comments from the community? No? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0.
Put a sign-up sheet right here for everyone out in the audience.
Yeah, you can contact the mayor, myself, anyone on council. We have some volunteers already that have contacted us. So I think we have about 10 people, right, Mayor? About ready to go. So how about you? Oh, come on. Okay, you can give as little or as much as you want. Okay, all right, so the next motion, approval to adopt an ordinance of the Morrisville Borough, County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 435, vehicles to include special parking zones for people with physical disabilities. Luke, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Marie, would you second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any commentary? Nothing from council? Anything from the public? Nothing? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstentions? Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Okay. Approval of the PKB Contractors, Inc. proposal for work to be completed on Melvin Avenue Basin, an estimate of $11,800 pending a grant extension. Catherine, would you approve this motion?
So moved.
Melissa, second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Anything from the public? Nothing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Approval to appoint Sue Knott as the Right to Know officer. Marie, would you make that motion?
So moved.
Luke, would you second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Anything from council? Anything from the public? Nope. Motion. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Approval application for Mega Sports Camp to be held at Williamson Park, sponsored by the Compass Fellowship. Dates are Monday, July 8th through Saturday, July 12th, 5 to 9 p.m., pending completion of vendor application and payment of required fees. Catherine, would you make the motion?
Well, first I want to say it's July 15th.
There was a change, so I read out what the change was.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Because the 15th is the...
Yeah, so it's July 8th through July 12th.
I so move.
Okay, Melissa, second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Anything from council? Judith?
Yes, this is an item that we also need clarification on the fees. The fee that has been charged has been a $300 fee for the week. Normally, it would be a $300 event fee for each day, but because it's for the entire week, we are asking council to look at this and let us know what your thoughts are. In the past, they have been charged $300 for the entire week at the park. They do a lot for the borough, so it's a very good event.
It's for kids?
Yes, it is for kids.
Anybody want to increase that fee?
I'm happy to keep it at 300 for the week.
Okay, it's staying at 300 for the week.
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, we got a consensus.
I heard Andrew.
I was going to say thank you.
Well, I saw some nodding of heads. So we had a consensus, so consensus rules. Are you opposed?
No, I was looking at my paper. I heard Andrew, and that was it. And I was like, just like that.
Because I was turning my head and I saw
Gotcha.
that. Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Any comments from the public? No? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7-0. Okay.
Back up 1 second. We heard Kaplan made the motion. Who made the second?
I think you did, Melissa.
Oh, was me? Okay.
Thank you. I
was so
I
reading and
thought
taking
so,
notes.
but when I asked you, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay, so we have public comment. Michelle McGowan. These are for non-agenda items.
Hi, my name is Michelle McGowan, South Pennsylvania Avenue, and I was just wondering if we can get an update on the painting of the crosswalks at Cleveland and South Pennsylvania. They're faded, they're gone. I'm not sure if that's DOT since it's a state road or if that's borough.
For that. I had planned on contacting you again. I know we went back and forth with emails. It needs to be an agenda item with Borough Council, so I'll be providing that information to them to have it on a future agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, Michelle. Where did you say Pennsylvania and what? Cleveland.
It's the corner where the senior center is. Yeah, that'll be on the next month's agenda. Okay, Jennifer Jarodat, please come up, just state your name and street.
Hello, I'm Jennifer, and I'm on Lincoln Avenue. I just wanted to comment on the increased positive police activity. I've seen a lot of the police officers, especially Officer DeLuca, out showing her police car to the children, and they get all excited. They're patrolling more. Having Gerald Simpson here to help weed out a lot of this toxicity that's been in here was a blessing. And it will not go unnoticed. And I just want you to know what Mr. Robinson said about a folder last time. In the last meeting, I was one that was targeted. I was falsely arrested for nothing. So having him here got out the bad apples. So you have to commend everybody that tried to help with our police department. And I'm very blessed and thanks God for everything you've done, and our community is going to be better. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Cheryl Vogel, are you a Morrisville Borough resident? Okay. It says Highland Avenue, and I wasn't quite sure if that was Lower Makefield.
There aren't that many houses on.
Okay.
I'm going to stand on my tiptoes because I can't. Okay, so hi, Sherry Vogel, 826 Highland Avenue. So I am here to talk about the sale of 859 Crown Street, which turns out to be right behind my house. It's my next door neighbor. It's recently been put under contract to sell to, I've decided whether I should name him or not, but the owner of the party house at 874 North Pennsylvania Avenue has put in a bid, and it's been accepted for that home. All right, turn it. Okay, is this any better?
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, so I'm here about the sale of 859 Crown Street, and that's my literal next door neighbor. The person who's buying it is the owner of the party house on North Pennsylvania Avenue. I think most of you are familiar with this person. He's amassed a small fortune in fines for many, many, many violations of zoning laws, building codes. He's infamous in our neighborhood for loud parties, transient tenants, and his conduct that has resulted in multiple arrests. So there's no reason for me to believe that anything is going to change with the purchase of 859 Crown Street. If past behavior is a predictor of future behavior, then I expect he's going to continue to rack up fines. I believe they're now in excess of $100,000. So what I'm here to ask that the council just commit to enforcing the laws that we have on the books. So citing the violations, but collecting the fines and the penalties assessed when the offender is found guilty. And I know that I'm not privy to all the details, so there may be legal wranglings that are happening behind the scenes that I don't know about, but I found a code that you probably know about, but I'll just draw your attention to it. It is 34 section 403.65 that states, quote, if a buyer has outstanding fines, the borough can withhold the certificate of occupancy for the residential building until those fines are resolved. This ensures compliance with all municipal regulations before the property is occupied or transferred, end quote. So it might be that the bulk of the fines are pending some official adjudication, but I would argue that that should not matter. Until now, this man has had no incentive to do anything but delay his court dates, pay his fines in dribs and drabs, But now there's something that he wants, and that's this house. So let's collect his fines before he can have it. That's my statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dana Jalad.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dana Jalad, and I live at 45 Ridge Ave. I'm here to address and piggyback off of what Sherry Vogel just spoke about. I stand here extremely, extremely frustrated that we have to rehash the same issues and concerns about this matter over and over and over again. One of the issues I'd like to address tonight is the timing of responses we receive from the borough when we reach out. For example, a concern was brought to your attention via email by Chris Hoover, one of our neighbors, regarding transients living at 874 North Pennsylvania Ave in April of this year with no response back from the borough. He sent another email in May with no response back from the borough. And then he sent another email in June, and he just now received a response. And the response he received was that we are looking into it. Not only is the timing of the borough's response unacceptable, so is the response itself, especially since we've been dealing with this issue for over 10 years now. Secondly, what has the borough done to collect the fines that the owner of 874 North Pennsylvania Ave owes the borough? When are you expecting to receive the payment? The only response we keep getting is we are looking into it. Again, that is an unacceptable response 10 years in. Also, the Citizens Portal where folks can submit issues and concerns is a waste of time. No one has responded back to any of the concerns we've submitted there. There have been no follow-ups and no one has reached out. What's the point of having this portal if no one is going to respond? It seems to me this is just another way to not deal with us. How many more years do we have to wait before this issue is finally resolved? The borough needs to put this to bed once and for all. This issue must be on the top of the borough's agenda and discussed at every meeting until finally resolved. Otherwise, it will continue to grow as we've been seeing. We want to see resolution expedited and prompt payment of the fines owed to the borough, preferably in our lifetime. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mike Platt.
Good evening. Mike Platt, Fairview Avenue. Council members, I would like to add my concerns to the pending sale of 859 Crown Street. My wife and I reside at an adjacent property on Fairview Avenue with our 2 young daughters. I speak to you tonight as a resident, but also primarily as a father. Based on all the experiences that have been shared by my neighbors just now here tonight, dangerous incidents that have also occurred as recently as last week, and many others that we have heard about going back years, we feel this pending sale will create a threat to our safety and the enjoyment of our neighborhood. I've spent some time reviewing the Borough Code in recent days. I'm sure you're aware of it as well. There are many aspects of the code that I suspect are being violated by allowing rentals at the other properties that have been referenced here tonight. My neighbors have much more evidence and facts going back years. I was struck by 2 in particular that I just wanted to call your attention to in case there was any doubt about the impact of this on our neighborhood. There's a code 408 section E. The short-term lodging facility shall not adversely affect the residential character of the neighborhood. Short-term rental may not generate noise, violation, glare, odor, or any effects that unreasonably interfere with a person's enjoyment of his or her neighborhood. The following section F, the owner shall be responsible for the safety and welfare of all transient visitors and guests, preserving the peace and quiet of the community within the short-term lodging facility is found from noises or disruptions caused by any transient visitor or guest. Based on everything you have heard here tonight so far, both of these sections are being violated. From what we can see, repercussions from these violations are not being enforced with any real impact to our neighborhood. We have no reason to believe that this property at 859 Crown Street will be managed any differently, and it will only harm our quality of life. So please, I ask you to do everything in your power to help prevent this problem before it starts in order to make our neighborhood a more safe and enjoyable place to live, especially for my children.
Peter Mulcahy.
Peter Mulcahy, 72 Fairview Avenue. I attended 2 different zoning hearings in this very room where the owners of the property at Crown Street and Trenton Avenue and our party house on North Pennsylvania Avenue were denied the use of the property for short-term residents. And yet, in both of these instances, those properties are being used for short-term residents. And I see no effort from the borough to stop this. It's a residential neighborhood. It's designated R1. It's expressly forbidden to have short-term residents living in that area. So I'm asking you to take the steps necessary to prevent this from continuing and prevent it from expanding into another property, further degrading the neighborhood.
Thank you. Peggy Walsh.
Peggy Walsh, Stockham Avenue. I'm glad to hear that we're hiring some more police personnel because we really have a terrible problem with speeding on North Pennsylvania Avenue between Trenton and Bridge. Cars fly down that section well over 45 miles an hour. And my fear is that some child is going to get hit. I have a hard time crossing that street myself, especially because they come around the corner at the shopping center and you don't see them and they're going so fast and you're in the middle of the street and they're there. But since the pandemic, the speeding on that street has gotten terrible. And then I'm also really concerned about the speeding on Delmore Avenue by Williamson Park. I rarely see any cars yield at that crosswalk. So I don't know what the solution would be, ticketing or like Yardley does, take a page out of Yardley's book, flashing signs, speed bumps. But in those 2 areas especially that I experience, I'm really worried that some child is going to be hit. Thank you.
Thank you. George Helmstetter. Oh, I think he left. Okay. Nicole Williams, it says here you're a realtor looking to be in contact with the zoning. She left. Okay. Melanie Hoover.
My name is Melanie Hoover, 91 Fairview Avenue. I just want to echo what my neighbors have said. This has been going on for years with this party house. 10 years. I've been living here 20 years, 10 years. I can't believe that the people before me or the people before you were not able to accomplish a little bit more in the years that you've been on the council. I think this is like an embarrassment, truly an embarrassment. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's it for public comment. Oh, go ahead. State your name and address.
Yes. Adriana Korb, 840 Highland Avenue. In addition to the residents who have spoken here regarding 859 Crown Street, the potential sale of it, it's to re-emphasize that fines need to be collected from the potential buyer of this property. He currently owns a property, 874, that is or does have transient tenants. I, at 840 Highland Avenue, am right next to the big rock and the monument. I'm a primary care provider for my husband who has cancer. I babysit children in this neighborhood. Having walked it, just in this last month alone, I've been leered at by vehicles that are pulling into this property belonging to the owner of the party house and the shared mansion. I have had an individual come by and start growling and barking at my dogs and myself, and also enter this property at 874 North Pennsylvania Avenue. By this owner's own admission, he's had crackheads and drug users in his home that he's illegally evicted on his own, posts on Facebook about. He's involved in altercations with a lot of neighbors in a very provocative way. But these incidences, I didn't have the acute awareness at the time because I was so dismayed and taken aback to report to the police. Going forward, I'll be doing so. But I have a lot of instances where very erratic individuals are residing temporarily at this home. There's an indication that some of these individuals being vulnerable with either mental illness or substance abuse are possibly accepting, getting rent vouchers that this owner is accepting. So I feel that there is even more here in the sense of real crimes being committed, either federal, state, or city crime. If payments are being accepted because there are witness accounts or testimony that this owner is having these individuals work on his properties. So if they, after accepting a rent payment, he will then ask them to do manual labor on his property. And if not, he threatens them with rent increases. So I've been seeing more and more people that I don't recognize work on his properties. These are the men who have catcalled and leered to myself and my neighbor, who I was on the phone with to caution her. Another neighbor present here has witnessed someone what appears to be using drugs, and on the Crown Street wood side where the rock is, and then we watched them stumble into the gentleman's property at 874 North Pennsylvania Avenue. I am extremely alarmed at the kind of conduct that is being committed by the tenants there, by the owner himself, because he has lied to this council many times over and insisted this was going to be used as permitted by the zoning laws of this community and not abided by that. In addition to that, he frequently just disavows the fines that he owes Morrisville. My heart is beating very fast, so
That's okay.
me,
3 minutes.
This is very alarming to me, and do everything, please, within your power to pump the brakes
3 minutes
on this sale, because it will have irrevocable damage done to
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Council discussion. So I think we talked about the Manor Park Playground, so we're going to take that out. Judith, you wanted to discuss new bank signature cards and signers?
Yes, currently we have yourself and Andrew Lubin as signers. We'll be removing myself, so I was wondering how council would like to proceed. If you would like to add your interim manager, or would you like to add another council person?
Why don't we leave that for now, and we'll talk about it when Mr. Dillon is here.
Okay.
Is that all right with council?
Yes, because you will be okay. You will be okay with me
Is that all right
leaving.
with council? Yes. Okay.
Yes, you will be okay with me leaving because you will have 2 council persons and you'll have Virginia. So you will have the 3 that you need.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about the infrastructure. You had all these items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these.
Sorry.
Somebody can't hear me?
I couldn't because.
Oh, I'm sorry. Council discussion is still happening. If you could just keep your voices down. We had these infrastructure items with there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different companies. So we're not quite clear as to what was going on. We understand that there have to be upgrades to some borough systems. However, did the borough get a total, someone to come in and look at everything and give a total design of what needed to be done? Or is this kind of going with different vendors and doing it piecemeal?
So BAI is your current security systems representative. So that is why we continued with them. What we currently have in place was put there with BAI, and to replace the existing security cameras, that's why we got a proposal from them, because they are the ones who take care of the cameras that we have now. So that's why we did that separately. Snyder Hoffman Associates, that is the association that has put together all of the designs and plans for the electrical system and so forth at the Borough Hall. We had a very hard time finding architects that could accomplish these things. So that's why we reached out to Snyder Hoffman, because they have been in the building. They're very familiar at this point because they did the electrical system that we just replaced. So that would be the design for the fire alarm system that's needed at Borough Hall. Some of these companies, again, this is just for the engineering of it. So that's why we went with Snyder Hoffman. Some of these companies do not do all of the above. They do individualized items. Ridge Support Technologies, that is for the computer projects that the police department and the borough are in need of. We are having dire issues with our technology in the police department and the borough offices. So that's why we went with Ridge Support Technologies. But what you see in your packet, we had gotten three different prices for all the computer, the technology products. The labor we had gotten several prices for, along with the hardware. So you do have all of that in your packet. And we took the cheapest and the lowest cost that was provided to us for that. So that's why you see the labor and administration separately, and then you see the hardware separately. And the IT infrastructure proposal has to do with the room that's in the back here with the televisions and so forth, because we've been having a lot of issues with those items. In the past, we didn't have the funds to take care of any of these items. The funds are there for the use with the ARPA monies, and that's why we've been diligently trying to make sure that we're accomplishing all these items. Some of the other items that we are working on getting quotes for are the fob system for the entire building, for the police and the borough, instead of having keys. So that, again, that's why we have these items separated.
So, but do we have somebody come in and look overall to see what, do an analysis of the building and what's going on in the building?
Well, each of these persons came in and did the analysis.
Okay.
I don't know that you could find someone to come in and do an analysis for everything together. I'm not sure.
Okay, council, any questions? Okay, so I think if you could put together what you just said in a packet with all these bills, and we will leave it for Borough Manager Jim Dillon to take a look at.
I'm sorry, are they bills or are they quotes?
No, they're quotes.
Quotes, okay.
It's quotes and whatever background she has on them. Did I say bills? Oh, sorry. Well, they are going to be bills sooner or later. Okay, mayor comments.
Oh, this one's a long one. No. So first, would like to welcome Chief Rich. I told him I wouldn't say the last name because I'd probably botch it anyway, but we are happy to have you. I know he's out there talking to someone right now. Look forward to our partnership and moving this department forward. I'm really excited for the Morrisville Police Department right now. Thank you to the Civil Service again for their help with getting us a list, so we're able now to hire 2 more police officers contingent upon a background check. But next would be the Mayor's Picnic. I am going to change the name to the Mayor's Picnic, and I want to try and do something fun and make it celebrate Morrisville Borough in itself. Morrisville Borough was settled in 1624, so this is our 400-year birthday. So the Mayor's Picnic will be the Mayor's Unity Picnic to unite all of us, celebrating 400 years of community. So we're super excited. Hopefully we will have some fun for kids, entertainment, food, and the community coming together to celebrate our rich history. I appreciate the few that have already tagged on to help out and volunteer, to some people who have already said that they would donate to the Mayor's Picnic in whatever way they can, if it's something monetary or their time to volunteer. So I appreciate it. If you would like to volunteer, please email me at gwallismb@outlook.com, or you can find me on my social media pages. And also would like to wish Judith the best in her future endeavors. So thank you.
Mayor. Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
It was a joy working with you.
Yes, you as well. So thank you, everyone.
Excuse me, I believe.
Thank you for the report on the picnic. Do you have a budget that you've kind of put, expenses, and are you just getting it all donated? I know usually your picnic has about a $500. Is that still written in the budget?
Right, and my hopes is to get most of it donated to residents. And then we will be doing some food sales for the food itself. That would be I'll announce that once we have it all going. But
Okay.
we are looking to do more like a pig roast type thing down there, and then sell tickets to that, and then have the proceeds go out and help one of our nonprofits that we have right here in Morrisville.
Sounds like a great idea. Thank you for that update.
Okay, council member comments. I would like to reiterate Mayor Wallace's thank you, Judith, for the years that you have put in for the Morrisville Borough and for everything that you've done for us. Good luck to you in your future and the new municipality you're going to.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else on council?
Yeah,
I'd like to echo those same sentiments. Thank you, Judith, for your time here, and welcome to Mr. Dillon if you're listening. Thank you to Sergeant Assermani for stepping up. I know that was not the easiest task in the world, and welcome Chief Ciampo. And it's a great day in Morrisville. This is a seamless transition from the manager down to the police department, and it's definitely a new day of accountability and professionalism in our department. And it's going to get a lot better. I'm really optimistic about the future. That's all I have.
Thank you, Scott.
Melissa?
Yeah.
Catherine, you can go next.
Judith, I just wanted to wish you luck going forward. It's great to see that you were recognized for your 25 plus years in the position, and just want to thank you for what you've done here.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Yes, I too would like to thank Judith. We worked very closely with the Park and Recreation Committee, got a lot of trees planted, we had a lot of fun. And I don't think a lot of people realize that when she walked into this borough, we were so broke. You have no idea. I was talking to one of our companies, our engineering companies. He said, literally, she was trying to get a handle because we hadn't paid this company in so long. And she worked out ways to get it paid for and get us up to speed and get us, financially solvent. And I know she put a lot of extra work on that. So I personally want to say thank you. I'm glad we've had a great relationship. We have butted heads, but that's okay. And
we've agreed to disagree.
Yeah,
and that's good.
And so I want to thank you, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I appreciate your kind words and explaining how things really were and how wonderful it is to pass things off and for you to flourish as a municipality. I'm so excited for Morrisville. I truly am. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Judith, working with you was a pleasure. This is my first term as council. I learned more about borough codes and borough politics and borough codes and what we could do and should not do. And you were brilliant through the entire thing, and I thank you very much for that. Wishing you a lot of luck going forward.
Andrew, it was a pleasure to work with you as well and to enlighten you to all of those borough codes. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you so much for your kind words.
And I want to welcome Chief Rich and Mrs. Chief Rich, who's here, I know also. What the people here know, they actually came down and scouted the town. So when he says, I want to be here, we didn't Shanghai him. This is his several trip into this. So. That's right. Yeah, you're right. There's a house on Crown Street they would love to have you buy.
Yes.
That's good. That's good. And again, yeah. But again, welcome aboard. You're going to do well here, and we're happy to have you. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I'm sure that they all wish you well. It's just they're shy. They rarely talk down there. Okay.
Thank you all. I just wanted to say thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Wish the best for Morrisville.
Committee updates? Make it quick.
Yes, the one with no mic. John, he totally destroyed this mic, so to let you know. Just an update, we did have a Parks and Recreation meeting in April or June. No, June's coming up, May. And we talked a lot about our events that were happening. If some of you have been on Facebook, the Morrisville Economic Development Corporation sponsors our band, 7. So the borough's not paying for that, nor do I have to raise money for that. And they also are helping with the marketing. And there'll be a couple billboards that they got that will be marketing our events throughout the summer. And the first one is our July event. So I'm really grateful for those kind of support. The next thing we talked about is a progress in Patriots Park. And we're hoping, there's rumor that we might have gotten a grant to help develop and do more planting in that park. Some of you saw it on Facebook that the Girl Scout Project has connected with a company, and that they collect 1,000 pounds of the grocery plastic bags, and with that they make a beautiful park bench, and it's gorgeous. So the first one, we have one that's complete. We have another one that's almost complete, and then we're still collecting bags for 3 and 4. And these will go into Williamson Park.
Can you tell them where to drop off plastic bags?
I know that we're doing it at the chiropractor office.
The chiropractor, the Methodist Church.
And soon the senior center.
And soon the senior center. We're just waiting for the bin.
Chiropractor on Bridge Street.
Yeah.
So save those bags and take them there, because these benches are beautiful, and we're really lucky. And they last a long, long time. So as far as the murals on with the buildings with the baseball in Williamson Park, we do have somebody who's willing to help design and paint those. So as soon as we get the designs, we'll bring it back to council for approval. So we're moving forward on that. So anyway, I think that's about it. So thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate all of you who support us.
I'd like to thank the last of the Mohegans sitting in the audience that lasted through this long meeting. So thank you for staying.
Yes, thank you.
Meeting is adjourned. Oh, I don't.